From iconic boxers to chart-topping musicians, you're never going to guess which big-name stars filed for bankruptcy. I'm Judah Z, PandA Law Firm. We're sharing this list with you today so you can understand that whether you're a blue-collar worker or a famous celebrity, there's no shame in filing a bankruptcy to get yourself out of debt if that's the right way to go. At number 10, we have Teresa Giudice. We know Teresa from The Real Housewives of New Jersey. She declared bankruptcy after accruing massive debts and lawsuits. The important lesson to know about Teresa's case is that sometimes lifestyle, inflation, and legal entanglements can cause someone to file a bankruptcy, sometimes through no fault of their own. And at number 9, Mr. Las Vegas himself, the great Wayne Newton. You may know him from many movies, from his own residencies in Las Vegas. The reason for filing is financial mismanagement and lawsuits forced his hand to file bankruptcy so he could protect whatever assets he had remaining. The lesson we learn here is, even if you have a steady, high-profile income, sometimes you need to file bankruptcy to protect yourself from lawsuits and other debts if they're not handled properly. And at number 8, we have Gary Busey, Mr. Teeth. Gary Busey is a famous Hollywood actor. You may know him from Point Break and Lethal Weapon. He had financial struggles, which led him to a bankruptcy due to significant debts and limited income. Well, what's the lesson to be learned from Gary's case? Health issues or career downturns can often devastate people's individual finances, which can lead to bankruptcy, no matter how famous you are. About 30% of bankruptcies are caused by some kind of medical issue that caused debt that the consumer could not afford anymore, and that's why they filed bankruptcy, and that's what we saw in Gary's case. Number 7, we have Toni Braxton. I love Toni, but she filed bankruptcy twice. Nothing to be ashamed about. You may know Toni Braxton as she had Braxton Family Values, the show with her sisters. She also made the hit song, Unbreak My Heart. She had 2 bankruptcies, like we said. One in 1998 due to a record deal dispute. So she had a dispute with her record company, which led to debt, which led to bankruptcy. The second one in 2010 was linked to canceled shows and health issues. So once again, unpredictable health issues cause about 30% of Americans to have to file a bankruptcy. Once again, nothing to be ashamed about. You can't do anything about that. That's outside of your control. So what do we learn? Ongoing challenges, both contractual, medical, can force even successful artists to be replete with financial distress, which causes them to file a bankruptcy. Coming in at number 6, we have Oscar-winning actress Kim Basinger. She filed bankruptcy in 1993, which I think is about the same time Batman came out, and we all know her for that, which was very successful. She filed to address a multi-million-dollar judgment after withdrawing from a film project. So once again, we have a breach of contract dispute, which put her on the hook for damages. She filed bankruptcy to get rid of that breach of contract lawsuit, which bankruptcy can relieve yourself of. The takeaway here, contract disputes can occur massive liabilities. And that's one of the reasons why you just need strong legal counsel on the front end and the back end if you ever come across these situations. We're at number 5, MC Hammer. He filed a bankruptcy in 1996. We all know MC Hammer, great song, made a lot of money off of it. He tried to help a lot of people in his neighborhood, at least reportedly, which led to him having extreme financial distress. They report about $13 million in debt due to extravagant spending. Lesson to be learned here. Even if you have enormous income coming in from hit songs, if you overspend and mismanage your finances trying to keep up with the Joneses or, living for your image or even helping people that you care for, sometimes that can lead to a bankruptcy. Once again, nothing to be ashamed about, but let's learn the lesson. Number 4, Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds had to file a bankruptcy in 1996. Once again, a famous Hollywood actor. You may know him from Smokey and the Bandit and Deliverance. Think of the dueling banjos. So he had to file a bankruptcy due to overwhelming debt caused by a costly divorce and failed business ventures. So sometimes family issues, divorce here can cause bankruptcy because someone's saddled with all the debt. And perhaps you invested in businesses that you shouldn't have invested in, and you stretched your finances too thin, which would cause a bankruptcy. So key points here, he had multiple stresses from personal and professional downfalls, and this can compound to create severe financial trouble. Celebrity number 3, Willie Nelson, iconic musician. He filed a bankruptcy in 1990. Now, we know Willie from his country music hits. He filed a bankruptcy because he owed millions of dollars in back taxes. So a lot of people don't know that you can sometimes discharge IRS tax debt through a bankruptcy. Now, there's several kind of preliminary rules that you must meet to do that, but they are dischargeable or can be dischargeable through a bankruptcy. Main takeaway here, tax issues can escalate rapidly. The IRS charges penalties, they charge interest. Your $10 tax debt can turn into $100 really quickly. So we need financial planning, we need tax planning, and if that doesn't resolve the tax issue, sometimes we can file a bankruptcy to get rid of that debt or restructure it. Second thing to note here, sometimes filing a bankruptcy can halt IRS collection actions, which can give you a time frame to perhaps negotiate a settlement with the IRS or restructure it if you go through with the whole bankruptcy. Now, before we get into number 2 and number 1, if you liked what you've seen so far, please like, subscribe, and comment on which story perhaps surprised you the most, or if there's another celebrity that filed a bankruptcy that we have not mentioned in our list. Coming in at number 2, we have Iron Mike Tyson. What we do know about Mike is he lived a lavish lifestyle. He got involved with some criminal complaints and probably led to civil complaints. He had legal costs tied to that. He had mismanagement of money, which led to him losing a big portion of his fortune, which then led to the bankruptcy. Once again, as we've seen with some of these other celebrities, we have to watch our spending. We cannot overspend, right? We have to live below our means, and that way we can avoid bankruptcy. But if you do happen to overspend, which is common in our country, then we do have the bankruptcy option to get you out of that debt, and we can give you that fresh start. Number 1, celebrity filed bankruptcy. It's 50 Cent. You may know him. He's a famous actor, rapper, does vitamin water sponsorships, investments. He's tied to a lot of different things right now. He plugs a lot of different things, which is great for him. He's remade a lot of his money. Now, he filed a bankruptcy in 2015 due to multiple lawsuits and financial judgments. So perhaps once again, we have a breach of contract scenario here with business ventures that failed, which led to debt that he filed a bankruptcy for to resolve himself of. Entrepreneurial success doesn't make you immune to financial loss. Sometimes because if you were successful in your first venture, you think that all your ventures are going to be successful. And that's not always the case. So we saw that with Fitty. He had to file a bankruptcy because of these losses due to other entrepreneurial ventures outside of rapping. In summary, I want you to understand that even if you're a high-earning individual, even if you're a famous celebrity or an athlete, you still might find yourself in a situation where you need to file a bankruptcy. Maybe it's due to bad luck, right? Maybe it's due to a medical issue. Maybe it's due to a divorce. Maybe it's due to a broken contract. There's no shame in filing a bankruptcy. It doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that something happened in life. So if you are in financial distress, please contact a debt relief attorney that focuses on debt settlement and bankruptcy. They can discuss all your options like PandA Law. Once again, I'm Judah Z, founding partner PandA Law Firm. If you want to know the difference between bankruptcy and debt settlement, here's a video right here that you'll want to watch.